Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So first off, I would like to thank everyone for showing me the amazing amount of love on my last video. Stan and I are so grateful. You just reading through all your comments, all your positivity, and as much as you guys say that I'm an inspiration for you, you all are such an inspiration to me. Just sitting there reading through everything, I was just so overwhelmed, and I just wanted to thank you. So this week I wanted to make a video following up and just answering a lot of questions that you guys had about the pregnancy, about being pregnant in med school, how and why I kept it a secret for so long. And so I wanted to start off by giving you a little bit of the backstory. So for those new here, hi, my name is Jenny. I'm a fourth year medical student, and I am currently pregnant. So Stan and I found out that we were pregnant a little after 2 months, and the reason why it took so long to find out was because, this is TMI by the way, but it's because I was still bleeding a lot. It was like I was still having my period or constantly spotting. And so one day we were supposed to go to the cider bar. And Stan was just like, you know, your boobs are getting really big. Like, we should really check, like, just in case. And I was like, there's no way I'm pregnant because I'm still bleeding. But I'll take this test for you, just for your, like, safe of mind or peace of mind. And so I took it and I was like, oh shit, we're not going to the cider bar because I'm pregnant. This is why, if you're in the ER and there's a girl of reproductive age and she says she has abdominal pain, but she's still bleeding, you still need to get that pregnancy test. So yeah, I found out I was pregnant. And in the Asian culture, we don't like to, well, it's kind of voodoo to tell or make an announcement that you're pregnant before your first trimester is over, just because they say that there's a scare of losing the baby. And so I didn't tell any of my friends, my sister, anyone. Like, it was just Stan and I knew until after the first trimester. And also because I was bleeding still, like, I feel like even 14 weeks I was still bleeding, and so I didn't want to say anything until we knew for sure. Especially my mom, I didn't want to tell her and have her worry and all that stuff, and so we just waited it out. And then so that was our story. I've mentioned this a lot, but once you start med school, you have to be such a planner. I plan my life a year in advance at least. And so Stan and I knew we were going to get married, and I knew that during my fourth year I had this gap, and I wanted to have, if we were to start a family, I wanted to have the baby within the certain time frame. And so we talked about it, and we agreed that if we were not to get pregnant within the specific time frame, then we would wait until at least I started residency. But luckily we did, and everything turned out great. Going further into that, so when I think one of the questions I got was, did this affect my residency, or if this affected my board setting at all? So fourth year, you don't take boards at all, and so I didn't have any tests that I was actually studying for. The only big things that I was doing was audition rotations and interviews. And that was fairly early in the pregnancy. I think I was still in my second trimester, early second trimester and end of first trimester when I was doing audition rotations. And so, like, none of the residencies knew, just because I was still so small at the time and I didn't tell anyone. So that didn't affect residency interviews at all. And then I will be having the baby before residency starts. So I guess for those asking if there's a better time to get pregnant or have a child, there is. I guess, like, after first year you have the summer off, Second year, you have the summer off, but then you're studying for boards. And then third year, you're also studying for boards and applying to audition rotations and figuring out what you want to do. So I feel like for me personally, third year would have been the worst to get pregnant, but then I know several of my classmates who've done that. So anything's possible. It's just if you are capable of pushing through. So when I started telling people, I think one of the first questions that they would ask me was, do you have any weird food cravings? And I want to say no, but it's weird for me because I'm not a sweets person. I don't crave chocolate, I don't crave candy, I don't crave like ice cream. Yes, I love donuts. Don't get me wrong, that donuts are my kryptonite and I would eat a donut from time to time. But during this pregnancy, it's been excessive. Like I've been eating donuts nonstop. And now I'm just like, ooh, I want that cookie. Ooh, I'm gonna eat that Oreo. Ooh, I'm gonna have ice cream, chocolate. Like, I don't know. I've never been like this before. So weird for me is craving sweets. Before I was pregnant, I'm like a savory person, you know, I like my dinner, like that's my favorite meal of the day. So that was really weird. And then during my first trimester, I would really crave rice and beans, like Mexican rice and beans. That's all I wanted to eat. And now I think I just crave Asian food, but that's not unusual because I craved Asian food even when I wasn't pregnant. Another question people would ask was about morning sickness and how was the pregnancy in general. I would say that I'm very, very lucky in that this pregnancy has been fairly easy. So during the first trimester, I was fairly tired and I didn't know it was because I was pregnant or just because I'm a med student. You know, like med students are tired. I work 10 to 12 hours a day and obviously you're going to be tired. And I used to just sleep around 6 hours. Like that was my average. But then I realized that I started sleeping more. I needed to take naps. I didn't have any nausea really. I probably had nausea for like 2 weeks and it wasn't even bad. I just felt like I ate too much and I would just drink a little bit of like soda water and it would go away. And it would be worse when I didn't take my prenatals in the morning. But other than that, like this pregnancy has gone on so smoothly. I think now the worst thing is trying to fall asleep just because I've gotten so much bigger than I was. So I would lay in bed and toss and turn and sometimes it would take me hours to fall asleep. And I think within this past week, my hands have been aching like an arthritic ache or like a carpal tunnel kind of thing. It's hard for me to open jars, hard for me to make like a really tight fist. So if I wanted to punch somebody, it wouldn't like, you know, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like I feel old. And I had to take off my rings because they didn't fit anymore. But other than that, those were the only complaints that I would have about this pregnancy. Another question that I had was, how do I plan on managing motherhood and medical school? I think that once you start a family, especially raising a newborn child, you need support. You cannot do this on your own. Luckily, I have Stan and he's been great. He's been so supportive and he's been there for me 100% of the time. And luckily for us, his job, with the luxury of his job, he's able to work from home. And so he's gonna do a lot of the caretaking while I'm in residency. Our families live like states away, like we're in another state, so they're not going to be helping on the day-to-day basis. But my mom did say she wanted to come for the delivery and all that stuff. Stan and I are just going to be us. So I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to manage everything. And I don't claim to be an expert, but I'll take you guys along on the way and you guys will get to determine for yourself. Another question that I got was the hardest thing about the hardest thing after giving birth. So I think that the hardest thing for me after the delivery would be to leave my child and go back to work and go back to school and have to work 10, 12, 14-hour days and not see him. And once you have this thing like growing inside you for 10 months, like you grow really attached. And so I already feel sad just thinking about it. But we got this baby monitor where I can see him on my phone, like remotely. So hopefully that will help with the transition. Another question was asked, is there, if our school had, or how am I doing maternity leave? So for med school, I know every school is different, but for our school, there's not necessarily a maternity leave. You get 4 weeks vacation, and if you stack that up till the end of the school year, most of my friends end in March. And residency doesn't start till end of June or beginning of July. And so you have those months to actually give birth and bond with your baby and then leave your baby and go back to school, go back to work. It's not ideal, but it's what we've decided to do if we wanted to stay on track. My school luckily has a 6-week newborn elective. It would count as some of my credits, and I would get to stay home and deliver and all that stuff and bond with the baby. So that's an extra time that I would get to have. So basically, if you deliver in, like, if you plan it out really well and you deliver at the end of March, then you would have 4 months with your baby. But we're delivering a little later, so I think I will only have like a month with the baby before I have to go back to work. And so we'll just see how that goes. A lot of people have suggested that I ask for an easier schedule in the beginning of residency, like more outpatient stuff, and then ramp it up more at the end. So that's what I'm hoping to do. Another question I got was, am I worried about giving birth after my OBGYN rotation? I want to say that after my OBGYN rotation, well, let me just say this, like, I'm scared about giving birth even if I wasn't in medical school, and even if I knew nothing about medicine, just because Stan is 6'4" with a huge head and I am 5'4", and I'm pretty, I want to say I'm pretty petite. And so just, he has a huge head, like, oh my God. I think after my OB rotation, I think the only thing I'm scared about is getting a C-section, just because I've seen what it looks like. I've seen how mothers recover, and it's not pretty. That's the thing that I'm most worried about. Another question I got was, what is my opinion on epidurals? For me personally, I want to wait until, like, I want to go as far as I can. I want to see what my pain level is, pain tolerance or whatever. And I want to wait until I really need the epidural before I get it. Just because, like, an epidural is a procedure and it does come with risk. And I'd rather not have to take that risk if I don't have to. But I have nothing against getting an epidural, and I highly recommend it if it eases the whole birthing process or whatever your choice is. Like, do you, because you are birthing a human child out of your small orifice. If I need an epidural, I'm gonna get one. And another common question I saw in the comment section was, how did I hide the pregnancy for so long? And I don't think it's just because you're seeing me through a screen, I'm trying to hide my tummy or anything like that. But even even my friends that I met up with for dinner and stuff like that, they didn't even know that I was pregnant. And I feel like I was able to hide it so long because my tummy, or like, I didn't blow up until like this past month. And so I'll add some pictures. Like, I think this is me at 10 weeks and then at 16 or 22 weeks, something like that. But like, you guys can see, like, I wasn't that big. And even when I did get bigger, it was big for me, but I was still like a small Asian girl, you know? So it was hard you couldn't see a bump. And I was still really physically active. I still try to go to the gym a lot. And so just because you're pregnant, it doesn't change who you are. Like, you're more tired, maybe, but it doesn't, you're still you. And so I still try to live out my daily life, and I still try to make videos. Oh yeah, during like that one time, like if you guys remember, I think there was a span of like 4 weeks or 6 weeks or something like that that I didn't post anything on YouTube, and that was because I was so tired. But yeah, I hope I answered a lot of your questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I'll be sure to answer them there. Thank you again so much for showing me all your love. I appreciate you. I can't wait to talk to you guys again. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.